Welcome back to the deep dive. And today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're diving into the I Ching.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, specifically Hexagram 16, which is known as Yu or enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
And this one was specifically requested by one of our listeners,
Right.
and they sent over a ton of really interesting material for us to take a look at.
Wow.
And let me tell you, I took a look at this stuff and I was fascinated.
Yeah.
It was, it's always fun when we can kind of tailor these deep dives to this specific request from our listeners. Now, I have to say, just looking at it at first glance, we've got green dragons.
Right.
We've got warnings about potential pitfalls, even when things seem to be going really well.
Right.
So where do we even begin with something like this?
Well, the I Ching, it's really more than just, a fortune-telling tool.
Right.
It's really a very deep well of philosophical wisdom, and it's been used for centuries to help people navigate, the various twists and turns that life throws at them.
Exactly. And, this particular hexagram, it really has me curious just from looking at it briefly.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the best place to start is with the actual structure of the hexagram itself.
Yeah, great idea. So it's made up of two trigrams.
Okay.
Zen, which represents thunder that sits above Kun, representing Earth.
Okay.
So you could just imagine for a second the Earth kind of being awakened, stirred to life by this force of thunder.
Okay. I can kind of see that. Yeah, like a powerful surge of energy, almost
Exactly.
like a feeling of new beginnings, like the world's coming alive again.
That's the essence of you. The very vibrant energy, the potential for incredible growth and action.
I like that.
But, just like thunder,
Uh-oh.
enthusiasm can be a little unpredictable.
Okay.
It can be incredibly powerful,
Mm-hmm.
but it can also be potentially destructive.
That's where the idea then of cautious optimism comes in.
Exactly.
Because, in the material that our listener sent over, there's mention of financial success, smooth travels, strong partnerships.
Right. It all sounds really positive. Very positive, yes. Yeah. And to add to that, there's this phrase, the green dragon is pleased.
Okay.
Which kind of underscores that fortunate outlook that you were just talking about.
I see.
And the green dragon in Chinese mythology is linked to prosperity.
Okay.
And new beginnings.
So things are looking up, but then why all these warnings about potential problems? And especially, it seems, when it comes to relationships.
Right.
It's almost like the I Ching is saying, hey, yeah, things are looking good, but get ready for a bumpy ride.
Exactly. And that's a crucial message here.
Okay.
You all about balance.
Got it.
Think of it this way. Thunder brings rain, which is essential for life.
Yay.
But it can also, spark devastating wildfires.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very potent force, and that requires, careful handling.
So even if things seem to be going well, we can't just throw caution to the wind and let our enthusiasm kind of run wild.
You got it.
We need to be prepared.
Precisely. Now, why don't we dig a little deeper into some of the specific predictions that we see here?
Okay.
So, for example, the material that you have mentions smooth sailing in love, but it also points to a possible age gap with the woman being older.
Interesting. And then there are all these health warnings.
Yes.
The abdomen, liver, gallbladder are all highlighted as potential areas of concern.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even with all this talk of good fortune, there's this underlying message of caution.
Absolutely.
It's not all sunshine and roses, is it?
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Enthusiasm is a very powerful, positive force.
Right.
But it shouldn't make us blind to, the potential risks.
For sure.
And speaking of things that might be difficult to recover,
okay,
your material also suggests challenges in finding lost items.
Huh. That almost feels like a metaphor to me. Like
Yeah.
a reminder to stay grounded and pay attention to the details, even when we're really excited about new possibilities.
That's a great insight. It could be that this prediction about lost items is the I Ching's way of saying, hey, don't get so swept up in the excitement that you lose sight of what's important.
Okay. I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
Yep.
Enthusiasm is a powerful force,
Mm-hmm.
but without a bit of caution, it can lead to, carelessness and potentially negative consequences.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about these legal challenges that are mentioned in the material? That
Right.
talks about, complications, financial losses, even multiple people being involved.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Well, this is where the concept of persistence, which is central to you,
Okay.
really comes into play.
Okay.
The material emphasizes that despite these legal hurdles, it's important to persist through these difficulties.
So even when things get tough, don't give up. push through even when facing obstacles.
Exactly. The I Ching suggests that genuine enthusiasm, it isn't just about that initial burst of excitement,
Right.
but about maintaining a steady determination even in the face of adversity.
That makes sense. Now, you mentioned earlier some individual lines from the hexagram.
Yes.
And there were a couple that really jumped out at me.
Okay.
Like this one, to sing out enthusiasm is ominous.
Right.
Why would expressing enthusiasm be a bad thing?
You know, that's one of the lines that often causes confusion.
I bet.
It really speaks to the potential dangers of uncontrolled enthusiasm.
Okay.
And remember, thunder can be both life-giving and incredibly destructive.
So maybe it's not about being silent,
Exactly.
but being mindful of how and when we express our enthusiasm.
Precisely.
Okay, another one that really caught my eye was, persisting in sickness, one does not die. Now, obviously, beyond the literal interpretation, what's that trying to tell us?
I think it points to the power of resilience.
Okay.
That ability to overcome any challenge, not just physical illness.
It's like a metaphor for facing any difficult situation with just this unwavering determination.
Exactly.
Man, this I Ching is so layered and complex.
It truly is. And that complexity is what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
It encourages us to look beyond the surface and consider that deeper meaning behind these ancient teachings.
Okay, I'm ready to go deeper.
Right.
What other insights can you share about you and this message of balancing enthusiasm with caution? What is the I Ching trying to tell us here?
Let's take a look at some of those individual lines.
Okay.
They really offer a very nuanced perspective on how to harness the power of you effectively in our own lives.
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right. So let's dive into one of these lines. The second line reads, stranded between rocks, not a whole day, persisting is auspicious.
Okay.
So this line really paints a picture of, feeling trapped, surrounded by obstacles.
It does sound pretty claustrophobic.
It does, yeah.
Like you're stuck and there's no way out.
Right. And the key takeaway here is the emphasis on persistence.
Okay.
Even when you're surrounded by these obstacles, represented by the rocks, the I Ching is assuring us that there is a promise of eventual release. And notice how it says, not a whole day.
Right.
Suggesting that this state of confinement is temporary.
So it's almost like a reminder that even when you feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place in your own life.
Exactly.
Don't give up, because persistence can lead to a breakthrough.
Exactly. Now let's move on to the third line.
Okay.
Looking around in enthusiasm, regret will follow. Delay brings regrets.
Okay.
So this line cautions against impulsive actions fueled solely by enthusiasm.
So it's like a warning against getting caught up in the hype and making hasty decisions without really thinking things through.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
The I Ching is reminding us to pause, observe, and consider the potential consequences before jumping into something head first.
So enthusiasm is great.
Yes.
But we need to balance it with wisdom and careful consideration.
Precisely.
Don't leap before you look right.
Right.
All right, what's next?
Now, the fourth line offers a more positive perspective.
Okay, good.
Because of enthusiasm, there's much to gain. Do not doubt. Friends are present.
Okay.
So here, enthusiasm is presented as a catalyst for success.
Okay.
A driving force that can lead to great things.
So when we're guided by genuine enthusiasm, we attract opportunities and support from others.
Yeah.
It's not just about individual drive. It's about the power of collective enthusiasm.
Yes.
Working together towards a common goal.
That's a very interesting observation.
Yeah.
The mention of friends being present really underscores the importance of collaboration and having a strong support system when we are trying to achieve our goals.
It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Exactly. And finally, we reach the top line, which reads, dark enthusiasm. Achievements may change, but there will be no blame.
You know that dark enthusiasm? That sounds a little ominous to me.
Yeah.
What does the I Ching mean by that?
This line is arguably the most enigmatic and open to interpretation.
I bet.
Some scholars believe that it refers to a form of enthusiasm that's obsessive or even destructive.
Yeah.
It acknowledges that achievements that are driven by this kind of intense passion may be fleeting or ultimately harmful.
So it's like a cautionary note, reminding us that even when we achieve great things, there can be unintended consequences if our enthusiasm isn't guided by wisdom and ethical considerations.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder, what are we truly striving for, and what are we willing to sacrifice in pursuit of our goals?
Right. The I Ching is encouraging us to examine our own motivations
Mm-hmm.
and ensure that our enthusiasm is aligned with our values
Okay.
and ultimately contributes to something meaningful.
Wow, this hexagram is really giving us a lot to think about.
Is.
We've covered good fortune, potential pitfalls, health warnings, legal challenges, and now this idea of dark enthusiasm.
Right.
It's like a complex map of possibilities, full of twists and turns.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
You reflects the dynamic nature of life itself.
Yeah.
Filled with, its ups and downs, its opportunities and challenges.
For sure.
And it teaches us that navigating this journey successfully
Right.
requires more than just enthusiasm.
Okay.
We need wisdom, resilience, and a healthy dose of caution.
So if we were to kind of summarize all this for our listener,
Okay.
what are the key takeaways from our deep dive into the I Ching's Yu hexagram? What's the I Ching trying to tell us about enthusiasm?
I think the core message is to embrace enthusiasm as a powerful force for good,
Okay.
but also to recognize its potential to lead us astray if not carefully managed.
Right.
It's about finding that balance between passion and prudence.
So it's not about suppressing our enthusiasm,
Yeah.
but about channeling it wisely.
Yes.
We need to learn to harness its power for positive change while being mindful of the potential pitfalls.
Right.
It's like learning to ride a powerful wave.
Yeah.
You need skill and balance to stay afloat.
That's an excellent analogy.
Okay.
So we've seen how Yu emphasizes preparedness even when faced with good fortune.
Right.
The importance of persistence in overcoming obstacles
Mm-hmm.
and the need to temper our excitement with careful consideration.
And of course, let's not forget that intriguing concept of dark enthusiasm.
Right.
It's a stark reminder that even seemingly positive drives can have a shadow side.
Yes.
And it's up to us to discern the difference and make conscious choices that align with our values.
You're absolutely right. It's a reminder that the path to true fulfillment
Mm-hmm.
requires not only passion,
Right.
but also self-awareness, ethical conduct,
Okay.
and a commitment to contributing to something larger than ourselves.
Okay. I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
I think so too.
But before we wrap up,
Mm-hmm.
I want to leave our listener with something to ponder.
Okay.
This whole idea of dark enthusiasm has me thinking about how it plays out in our lives today.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a concept that deserves further exploration.
Yeah. What if we considered this? If dark enthusiasm can lead to achievements that might change or even disappear over time, how can we distinguish between positive and potentially harmful forms of enthusiasm? That's a question worth contemplating.
It is a question worth contemplating.
It gets to the heart of how we harness our passions in a way that benefits not just ourselves, but the world around us.
Perhaps the I Ching with its ancient wisdom can serve as a guide on that journey of self-discovery and mindful action.
It's like having an ancient compass
Yeah,
to help us navigate the sometimes turbulent waters of our own enthusiasm.
exactly. It's a tool for understanding not only the power of enthusiasm,
Right.
but also the importance of wielding it with wisdom and integrity.
Well, folks, that's it for our deep dive into the I Ching's Yu hexagram.
Hmm?
We hope you found it as insightful and engaging as we did.
Yes.
Until next time, keep that enthusiasm burning bright, but remember to stay mindful and keep a watchful eye on the path ahead. It's funny, as we've been talking about this and going through all these different lines and interpretations, I can't help but think, how relevant this all is to our lives today.
Oh, yeah.
Even though the I Ching is, ancient.
Yeah, it's timeless wisdom, isn't it?
Yeah.
This balance of enthusiasm and caution.
Yeah.
It's something we grapple with constantly,
Right.
whether it's in our careers, our relationships, or just our personal pursuits.
Absolutely. I mean, think about the startup world, for example.
Right.
So much of it is built on this infectious enthusiasm, this belief that you can change the world.
Yes.
But we've all seen how that can go wrong, haven't we?
Oh, we certainly have.
Yeah.
We've witnessed the rise and fall of so many companies that were driven by what we might call dark enthusiasm.
Right.
That unchecked ambition that leads to burnout, ethical lapses, or even, complete collapse.
Oh, yeah.
It's a stark reminder that even the most well-intentioned enthusiasm needs, a strong ethical framework
Right.
and a sustainable approach.
It's like that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You can have all the passion in the world, but without careful consideration, it can lead you down a path you didn't intend to take.
Precisely. And that's where the wisdom of the I Ching comes in.
Yeah.
It prompts us to step back, to reflect, and to consider the potential consequences of our actions,
Yeah.
even when we're driven by, the best of intentions.
Right. It's about cultivating a discerning enthusiasm,
Yeah.
one that's both powerful and wise.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the idea that true fulfillment comes not just from, achieving our goals, but from doing so in a way that aligns with our values.
Right.
And contributes to something larger than ourselves.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into you.
Yes.
What advice would you give to our listener, who's maybe feeling a little lost in the excitement of their own enthusiasm?
I would say embrace that enthusiasm.
Okay.
Let it fuel your dreams and aspirations. But don't let it blind you to potential pitfalls or the need for thoughtful action.
Okay.
Cultivate that discerning enthusiasm, that balanced approach.
Right.
That allows you to navigate life's journey with both passion and wisdom.
Beautifully said. And for our listener, if you ever find yourself feeling overwhelmed by that dark enthusiasm,
right,
remember to pause, reflect, and reconnect with your core values.
Yes.
Ask yourself, is this path truly leading me towards fulfillment? Or am I chasing something that's ultimately unsustainable or even harmful?
And don't hesitate to seek guidance from trusted mentors, friends, or even ancient wisdom traditions like the I Ching.
Right.
There's a wealth of knowledge out there.
Yeah.
To help us harness our enthusiasm and create a life that's both meaningful and joyful.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the I Ching's Yu hexagram.
It was my pleasure.
We hope you found it as illuminating as we did. Until next time, keep that enthusiasm burning bright, but remember to stay mindful and keep a watchful eye on the path ahead.